I want a channel mascot, so that's what we're doing today. When I first picked up Fruits Basket from the school library at the tender age of 12, I thought it was so much fun that the mangaka had a little Sona of themselves that would occasionally break in through the pages and give us some information. When I started joining YouTube, I saw even more people had these Sonas, and I thought it was really neat. I saw artists, non-artists, anyone under the sun had a Sona. And when I decided to start a channel, I wanted one too. The first thing I did was go on Pinterest to look for inspiration and create a Pinterest board for my Sona. I found several pins that matched the aesthetic I was going for and started getting to work. I ended up with this sketch and decided to ask the internet and some IRL friends which color scheme I should go with. Most people said they liked C, saying that it had the most blueberry vibes to them, but a lot of people liked A as well, so eventually I decided to do a combination of the two. One of my friends actually recommended that I add gloves to the drawing, and I thought that was a great idea, so I decided to do it. I ended up getting a good chunk of the way through finishing the sketch I had before I realized I really didn't like the way it was turning out. So I decided to start over. The first thing I did was sketch out the full body sketch. I wanted to lay down a pose that would give off the feeling of this character properly, and I wanted them to seem very relaxed and like the type of person you could go up to and joke around with, while also having a very self-confident feeling to them. So I ended up going with a pose of them holding a teacup and having a very sturdy pose. For the headshot, I wanted to carry across even more of those feelings of very relaxed vibes, and I wanted this character to once again seem like the kind of friend you could make some sassy jokes with. So I added a bit of a smirk to her, and I opted for a sort of softer, angular face. Like, it's not entirely round, there are some angles, but it's got a bit of a softer feel to it. Initially, I wanted to keep the same hairstyle as the previous sketch, but no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't make it look right with the new sketch. So eventually I just decided to do something else completely. I thought I'd hit record while drawing the new hair, but unfortunately I hadn't. So I don't have any video of me drawing the new hair. I opted for a more Lolita-esque clothing style, both because I just liked how it looked, but also because I personally think it gives off a very friendly, kind of you can trust me vibe, and that's the kind of emotion I wanted this character to invoke in people. A very, hey, I'm friendly, you can ask me anything, I am so down to have a conversation with you, you know? I still liked and wanted to keep the previous color scheme, so I didn't make any changes to that. It was still a combination of the two most voted for color schemes. The part of the drawing I added the most detail to first was the headshot. I added blush, I added shadows, I added rim lighting, stuff like that. The reason I decided to start with the headshot is partially because I'm most familiar with drawing portraits, but also because I feel like you get more of a sense of a character from looking at their face, which is why I mostly draw portraits. But I added some coloring to the skin and added some light rendering to the hair and As you can probably tell, I pulled up a previous hair study I did to make sure I got the vibe I wanted, and I just sort of went from there. Now, the way I incorporated a bit of the darker blue from color scheme A into color scheme C was by, for example, as you can tell, I made the eyes a darker blue, and in a bit, you'll also see that I added some dark blueberry buttons, trinkets, to the bows on this character. My coloring process is a little all over the place, so here you'll be able to see I started doing a bit of coloring and rendering on the skirt. Here you'll see I'm doing some more in-depth rendering on the face, and I'm going to be focusing on rendering the face and not doing as much rendering elsewhere, because I want the face to be the focus of this headshot. So most of the rendering will be happening here. The rest will be very simple in comparison. So here I started adding some coloring to the full body sketch. I wanted to keep the full body a bit more simple than the headshot because I, once again, want the headshot to be more of the focus here. So you'll see that while I do add some details to this particular sketch, I end up making it a lot more simple than the full headshot. I'm also color picking from the headshot to make sure the colors stay consistent, even though they're not going to be 100% the same. I do this because, well, I want there to be consistency in these drawings. I want you to be able to tell that this is the same character drawn again. Consistency is something I struggle with a lot, actually, so I've been trying to focus on it more recently. One thing I particularly struggle with is making my art style consistent. And I recently figured out that the best way for me to keep consistent is to just make a bigger canvas, which is a very simple solution, but it works. So I'm almost done with the drawing and the finished piece will be up on the screen in a little bit, but you can see me just adding a quick background, and that's about it. Thank you to anyone who made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate you watching. If you feel like it, you can leave a like. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Goodbye!